Welcome to Block 2 of the Arizona Department of Public Safety Unarmed Guard Card Certification class. In this block, we're going to focus on criminal law, laws of arrest, and we're going to move forward from there. It's going to be a little bit overwhelming as far as drilling down into the codes, the Arizona Revised Statutes Code. If I may offer this bit of a suggestion, would you mind writing this website down? Grab a pen or a pencil and write this down. www.azleg.gov. And that's going to take you to the Arizona Legislature website. And part of that website will allow you to do a blind search for Arizona Revised Statutes. It's going to allow you to pull up the codes and drill down into them and look at the elements a little bit deeper than what I'm going to be doing for you today. A lot of these codes are very legalese. They have the elements tucked into them, and I'm going to try to interpret those as best I can based on my practitioner background and my security background. Because the codes we're about to talk about and discuss here today are as close to being as relevant and connected to the security guard, unarmed security guard certification process as they can be. So on we go. Listed within the competencies, we're going to look at, first of all, the authority and responsibility of security guards. We're going to talk about that. Observe and report, first aid, things like that. The second part of this is going to be in the area of laws of arrest. And a very important concept that we're going to hit on is called observe and report. 99% of you are going to be in the observe and report category for every one of these blocks that we talk about. In other words, you're in uniform, that's your presence and your verbal skills. Anything above that, any restraints, hands-on, defense techniques, those are going to be much more in line with your company and the area of advanced defensive tactics. Bottom line is I'm not going to encourage you to put your hands on anybody or search anybody unless you've had specific handcuffing and or searching techniques that's been provided to you. We're not going to do it here in this initial block. This initial block is just that introductory part of what's expected with those two components, the observe and report component, and the presence and the verbal skills that you're going to be using. The next part is you're going to look down and you go, oh my gosh, that's a little bit overwhelming. The Arizona Revised Statutes 133801 through 133900. And I'm going to walk through and try to make the connection to the security profession as best I can. And again, a lot of these are going to apply to that 1% that are with company authorization and advanced training may go hands-on. The other 99% of us is going to be in the observe and report category. So as we move forward, this block, as all these blocks are, and sort of be repetitive about this, is I put a link back to the Arizona Department of Public Safety Security Officer Certification block, unarmed and armed. This block is unarmed, and it just gives you the opportunity to pull up the syllabus and look at the material that's being provided to you. And I can assure you that as an academic, in addition to being a practitioner, we follow it exactly, and we drill down into the topics that we are asked to provide to you. Okay, observe and report again. Hit on it before, but I'm going to hit on it again. And I'm going to hit on it a few more times before we're done. Is that you are hired to provide a physical presence and use your verbal skills to get compliance, to enforce the law, rules and procedures of the property that you're working, to control public, to deal with crimes that occur before and after, and a lot of what you do is going to be preventative. So when you observe and report, if in fact you walk into something and you don't feel safe, withdraw, ask for additional officers and or law enforcement. You will not go hands-on if you're by yourself. And if you do it in a reactionary way, I want you to withdraw. I want to make that very, very clear to you. You are there to observe and report and not to go hands-on. The 1%ers that are in an unarmed capacity that have been trained and authorized by their company, you're going to require additional training to do that. So on we go. So now, what are some of the authority and responsibilities that you're going to face? Well, we talked about observe and report. That's the basic premise that we're going to work from. Security personnel are also required to ensure that those who are injured receive some type of first aid. Now, of course, if somebody's injured, rural fire, rural emergency medical technicians. And then the basic first aid that you have, you understand that if there's a wound or there's this, the key is to stop the bleeding. So direct pressure to a wound and have the person do it, or yourself. The other side of that is people are going to be going into shock. So make sure that they're sitting down. Sit in the grass, on a curb, on a bench. Don't continue to let them go in shock and they're standing, because they will faint and they will pass out. And the injuries that can be caused by that drop in distance can be severe. Back when we talked about exceptional customer service, and what we're talking about there is that you do something just a little bit extra. How about the next step? Ensure that family and other injured, the injured person's family are notified. Ask for a phone number. Ask, is there somebody I can call for you? Is there somebody I can let know that's happened here? It's interesting how injured people, that's what they remember, the compassion that we gave to them at the scene. It's such a small part. Follow the officer's guidance and directions that are given to you at a scene, unless it is absolutely where you feel endangered or somebody else is in danger and it's not that advice of a reasonable and prudent police officer. Follow their instructions, please. The last one is that the level of force, if you are trained and if your company encourages it and you're part of that 1%, it has to be reasonable and necessary. It cannot be excessive. It can't be over any level that allows you to get compliance, that allows you to defend yourself. Reasonable and prudent police officer is the standard that we live by also, and no unnecessary force. And that's why we're so overly specific that 99% of you are going to observe and report your presence, your verbal skills, or you withdraw, or you request assistance. That's the base that we're building from. Okay, so now let's look at specifically Arizona Revised Statutes, Title 32, Chapter 26. It deals with security guard regulations, and it lists out all the things that are required: the certification, the fingerprinting, the records check, the 8-hour class that you have to go through. But the bottom line, they say, you cannot be on the job until you've completed this. So you got your training certification, your application, your fingerprints, and it's been turned into the Department of Public Safety, and you've been issued a guard card. Do not go on the job without it. Your company that puts you out there, they expose themselves to incredible liability, so do you. So don't do it. Okay, now on the other side, in transitioning to the Title 13, Chapter 4, the justification statutes, your 401 through your 419, they mostly deal with the armed guard card process, and up to, including in the justification of use of force, up to the use of deadly force. That is in an area that really heavily is focused upon in the armed guard card section, but what I'd encourage you, remember the website I gave you, so you get in there and drill down into it a little bit more. But that specifically, again, was www.azleg.gov. And you can drill down into this, but in the area of the unarmed guard card, it walks you through the justification going up to it's the use of force. And 99% of you are not going to be using force, right? Okay.